Alright, so this video, let's look at dividing complex numbers. And here we have 6 over 7 minus 2i. Now, when we're dividing the complex numbers, what we want to do is we want to get this in the form a plus bi. Okay, that's the form we want to get all of them in. So what we're going to do to get rid of the I in the denominator, we're going to multiply the numerator and denominator by the conjugate of the denominator. So the conjugate of the denominator, you just change the sign in the middle. So that would be 7 plus 2i. So we're going to multiply numerator and denominator by 7 plus 2i. Now, to multiply conjugates, okay, now you can fold this out, multiply first, outside, inside, and last. You can do that, you'll get the right answer. You'll just have a few more steps. All right, well, there's a formula. You remember the formula a minus, a minus b times a plus b. That's a squared minus b squared. Well, that's not quite what we have. We actually have a minus bi times a plus bi. And this formula is a squared plus b squared. Okay. So to multiply this, let me go ahead and write this. 6 times 7 plus 2i over 7 minus 2i times 7 plus 2i. All right, and let's go ahead and distribute the 6. So I get 42 plus 12i over. Now, we're going to use this. So you can see in our problem, see the A's? A is 7, B is 2. So that's 7 squared plus 2 squared. Okay, and that's going to be 42 plus 12i over 49 plus 4. So this will give us 42 plus 12i over, and that's going to give us 53. Okay, now let's see. I don't know if it'll simplify or not. Let's see. All right, so what we want to do is split this thing up. That's 42 over 53 plus 12 over 53i. And the 42 over 53 and the 12 over 53, they won't reduce any. So that's going to be our final answer. Now, the reason I split it up is because most of the time the directions are going to tell you to put it in this form. And so putting it in this form, a plus bi, well, you can see here's a plus b times I. And so, whenever you get something like this, go ahead and split it up. Now, unless your teacher tells you just leave it like this, then that's fine. But, more than likely you want to split it up. They're going to have you split it up. All right, I've got 5 examples. And it pretty much covers everything you'll come across. All right, so let's look at this. Let's rationalize denominator. So I'm going to multiply numerator and denominator by 2 plus I. Okay, multiply by the conjugate. That's going to get the I out of the denominator. So I have, all right, so we have 3 plus 5i times 2 plus I over 2 minus I over 2 minus I times 2 plus I. Alright, so now for the numerator, we're going to have to FOIL this out. And I have a video on multiplying complex numbers. You can check that out if you need to. Alright, so multiply the first, so that's 6. Multiply the outside, so that's 3i. Multiply the inside, 10i, and multiply the last, plus 5i squared, over, and remember, I've got a minus bi times a plus bi. So in this case, a is 2, so that's 2 squared, plus, now what's b? Well, remember, b is the number in front of I, and it's understood to be a 1, so b is 1, so plus 1 squared. All right, so this gives us 6 plus, combine these like terms here, 13i. Now look at this, I squared is negative 1. Okay, remember, I squared is negative 1, so that's negative 1. Well, we'll leave it. All right, so now I have a positive 5 and a negative 1. So that's going to make this minus 5. Okay, so minus 5 over, and that's 4 plus 1. And so this gives us 1 plus 13i over 5. And then we can split this up, so that's 1/5 plus 13/5 I. And that would be our final answer. Alright, example 3. Alright, so I've got 4 plus 3i over I. Alright, so remember before we've been multiplying numerator and denominator by the conjugate of the denominator. Well, if you look at the denominator, it's I. But notice that I is the same thing as 0 plus I. Okay? The a is just missing. The a is 0 in this case. And so the conjugate would be a minus I, or just negative I. So I'm going to multiply numerator and denominator by negative I. Now, let me say this. If you were to work this problem and multiply by I over I without the negative, you'll get the same answer. What's going to happen is you'll end up with a negative in the denominator. Okay? If you multiply by I over I. I mean, it doesn't make a difference, but if you multiply by negative I, you're just going to get a positive 1 down here in the denominator. I think that might just kind of makes it a little bit easier. All right, so we've got negative I times 4 plus 3i over negative I squared. So let's distribute the negative I, so that's negative 4i minus 3i squared over negative, okay, so we got the negative here, and I squared is negative 1. Okay, all right, so now I've got negative 4i. Now remember, I squared is negative 1, so the negative and negative is going to give me plus 3 over 1. And so now I get 3 minus 4i. And there's my answer. Because remember, anything over 1 is just the numerator. And I just wrote the 3 first. Alright, let's look at the next one. Alright, so the next one, it's similar. We just have a 3 in front of the I. But we'll do the same thing. Okay, this is 0 plus 3i. So I'm going to do 0 minus 3i, which is just negative 3i. Okay, all right, so let's multiply by negative 3i over negative 3i. And like I said before, you can multiply by positive 3i over positive 3i. You'll get the same thing. It's just like in this previous problem, instead of 1, you're going to end up with -1, and then you're going to have to distribute the negative to each one. So that's the difference. All right, so I get -3i times 5 minus 6i over, and then that's going to be 3i times -3i is -9i squared. Okay, and I forgot to change the color of my pencil, so all right. So now let's distribute this, so I get -15i plus, negative times negative is positive, 18i squared over -9, and then I squared is -1. All right, so this is going to be -15i. Now remember, I squared is -1, a negative and a positive, so that's -18 over 9. And so let's just rewrite this with the -18 first. And then let's split them up. So I get -18 over 9 minus 15 over 9i. And so look what we're left with. -18 over 9, that's -2. 3 goes into 15, 3 goes into 9, so that's minus 5/3 I. And so this would be our answer. All right, so last one. All right, so how about this one? Well, this one doesn't have an I in the denominator. The I is already gone. So we don't need to multiply numerator and denominator by anything. All we need to do here is just split it up. So that's 9 over -6, and then minus 3i over -6. All right, so let's see. 3 goes into both, so we'll reduce. That's going to be -3/2. And I like to just put my negative out front. Remember, if you have a fraction, -a over b is the same thing as a over -b, which is the same as -a over b. Okay, if you want to leave the negative in the denominator, that's fine. I just like to put it out here. And this negative and negative, that's going to make a positive, and 3 over 6 reduces to 1/2 I. And there's your answer. All right, so I hope this video helped. Give me a like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.